Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Doing It with Dad. Doing It with Dad. Let me pull him up right quick. Let's get into this. Where am I? Here we are. We're going to give him a round of applause. Well, more of a drum roll than a round of applause. But how you doing, Pop?
I'm well. How are you?
Well. So before I go anywhere, let me just start off by saying thank you to the New Thought Media Network for providing me with the opportunity to grow. And I am not a financial advisor. Please take what I say with a grain of salt before you implement it yourself. Okay. That's it. We're gonna jump into it. So I was trying to get you in last week, but it was a lot going on. I was actually in the physical house, but there was a lot going on, and so we didn't get you. Sorry, I didn't get you on camera because I thought you were leaving like immediately, but then you hung out for a while. I couldn't figure out what was happening, so I stayed tuned to this channel, but I didn't check you in. So for those of you who saw that I was at my parents' house, I couldn't get them in. So anyway, so now we are here. I'm in New York. Dad's in Boston, and let's talk about the vacation. Let's talk about the August getaway. Yeah. So tell me about how this getaway happened to begin with.
Well, I need to get away from the big city, but it really kind of developed into a golf tournament because my other friends also needed to get away at least for a while, and we were golfers, and at that point you were not. So we needed some companions for you. And the likely place, we tried many places, but Cape Cod was really the best and the closest, and it had lots of opportunities for for beach people, the ocean was there. For golf people like myself and others, golf courses, many of them are there. And of course, restaurants and other historic possibilities and institutions.
Right. So you got Fee just then. She's like, oh, so that you were doing this for me in some way. So I want to know, like, what led you to the golf tournament, the golf station, the golf place, the place where you ended up doing the classic. How'd you end up there?
Well, it was a kind of trial and error. We played at many golf courses on the Cape.
Okay.
And Falmouth Country Club was, I guess, the most convenient, the most welcoming, and most accommodating. So it was a combination of things that got us at Falmouth Country Club.
Okay.
We tried many other courses on the Cape, probably at least 8 or 9.
Oh, wow. And that was the one.
Yeah. And some we liked, others we didn't like so much. And Mama Janet did not like the the hilly course in Barnstable. But I like the course, and it turns out some people at that course were very familiar with our minister, who also did time and practice on the Cape.
Really?
Reverend Ray Hammond.
Really?
Yeah.
And that place was in Barnstable?
Yeah.
So you went outside of the Mashpee area. You went and
Oh
tried?
yeah, oh yeah. We were, I mean, the Cape is not all. Come on now, the Cape is not all that large.
Okay.
But we played in Hyannis and and other places around the the place where we live. In Mashpee.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you ever try on Martha's Vineyard?
No,
Okay.
Martha's Vineyard is very limited. There's one 18-hole course, Farms
One.
Neck, one, and
Wow.
one 8 and one 9-hole course. At that time, I did not play 9-hole courses. That's what I play now.
Yeah, I hear
I've come down a bit,
that.
but it'd be difficult to get people uh, onto the vineyard and back on some scheduling day or 2-day kind of thing. We did have people who lived on the vineyard who came to Falmouth to play. I mean,
Okay.
that seems to be an easier route, but it was still difficult because it's a ferry,
Right.
swimming or flying.
Right. Right. Yeah, I understand that. And so, can people bring their cars onto Martha's Vineyard?
Yes, but you need a reservations. You have to you have to reserve a spot for the car.
You have to reserve a spot for the car. And then
Yeah.
how do you get it over there? How do you?
Well, you get to Woods Hole is the fair
Woods
docking of
Hole.
the
Woods
ferry,
Hole.
the
Yeah.
big ferry. See, but now we've discovered that there is a way, another ferry, smaller one, uh, from Falmouth.
Really?
Yeah. So now, you all went
Right. We went.
from Falmouth to
Yeah.
the vineyard.
Right. So there's a. Oh, so you drive your car onto the ferry.
Yes.
Oh, and then drive it off once you get.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Somebody else drives it on, but but yeah, the car goes on the ferry. You go upstairs when it docks. People drive your car off.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So, all right, so you've had this thing going for 20 some odd years, and I gotta tell you that the energy of the Martian Golf Classic was so present. It was like people were talking to me about it. People were like, what's happening with the classic? Like, I remember, what's that guy's name who does the car? I'll fix it, or what's it?
Willie Hicks Jr.
Okay, I asked him for a 1 to 10 rating of the classic. He said 10. I said 10. He said 10. I was like, wow, yeah. So I mean, you know, I guess just tell me about it. Like how it grew. I know we talked about this before, but I'm trying to get it locked into my mind. Like how did it grow? How did it become what it was?
Well, you were very much a part of that,
Mhm.
with ideas and contacts in New York,
Mhm.
and word of mouth. People kind of said, if you're going to play some golf in late August, the Cape is a good place to do that. And the Morrison Classic is one of those spots you can fit into.
Okay.
We were very open and inviting and enjoyable.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. All right. So this reminds me of something people just asking me. She was asking me if you were an athlete before you started golf. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, he did football and track, right? And then before you took up golf, right?
Yes,
Okay.
golf
And
was not my first choice in terms of sports.
okay. When did you take up golf?
Well, kind of early on, but not seriously.
Okay.
I got into golf as a caddy. Uh,
Hmm.
we lived in walking distance to the Savannah golf course,
Okay.
uh, uh, and friends of mine told me, listen, you can get some extra cash by caddying. I was on an allowance, so I really wasn't strapped for money. But
Right.
it was a good idea to mix and meet people, especially older people, at the golf course, who was, a learning process, and people who took interest. And the caddy master uh, gave me and others clubs, and we found balls as we were working or not working by caddying.
Mm.
So it was there, but it was not a real interest until I finished college. And then
Okay.
there was a decision to make. What kind of sport can I play from here on? I can't be running and jumping. I didn't like tennis that much, but tennis is a lot of running
Mm.
and stretching.
Mm.
Uh, and it came down to really one of two sports, tennis or golf. And I said, hey, golf is a game that I know how to play, and I can play it longer than I can do
Mm.
anything else after a certain age.
Right.
So then golf became my after school. Had to try to fit that in with working
Yes.
and my playing on the weekends where I was not working, uh, on practicing and playing golf,
Huh.
and
So
of course meet people, in that process.
right. So what made you think so long term? You graduated from college. What made you think like I can play this forever? Like what made you have that kind of thinking?
Well, physical.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, sports. Unless you're playing chess or or some card game or parlor game, you got to do the physical stuff.
Mm.
And tennis was uh, easier to get to. I mean, the tennis courts are around the city. Golf courses are kind of around the edges of the city, except in Boston. In Boston, there are two major 18-hole golf courses in the city.
Mm.
And I lived in the city, so it became kind of simple to put that together.
Yeah, I want to give you props there. I want to give you props there because not not a lot of people would think that long term. I mean, I don't know if I would be thinking that long term as a means of choosing something so early. Like that's something else. That's having that foresight is something else. That's something. There's something to that. Something to that. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, see, this is P King. Yeah, I love that he thought ahead. Many of us don't think we'll ever get older. Interesting. Yeah, 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 Pop. You were thinking a long time out. A long time out.
Well, the thing is, Father and Mother Time are undefeated.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're living, you're aging,
yeah. I feel you. I feel you.
and you want to think about not only what you can and want to do. Will you have the ability to do it?
Mm, mm. Well, this is an interesting question for Feet down the hall. Did you ever think that golf wasn't for you as a black man? How was that for you growing up or in your I must have asked you this during the Morrison Golf Classic, but yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, golf was kind of scheduled and titled a rich man game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, no, it didn't include me.
Mhm.
I am not rich,
Right.
at least not in terms of financial terms. Rich in lots of other terms, though. And yeah, it was a learning process. As I
Mm.
said, they kind of got started, as I said, as a caddy, and the mixture of people and equipment and desire, and dreams. I mean, a lot of discussion occurred, in the caddy yard as
Mhm.
you're waiting to get a bag to caddy.
Right.
You realize that some of us were as good as many other people, but we didn't have the opportunity to play on the course. As a matter of fact, progress was made when caddies were allowed to play once a week on
Mm.
Mondays. Mondays was caddy day to play golf. on
Okay.
most courses.
Oh
Now,
wow.
where I went, it was a country club, so it was very private, and they didn't do that.
Okay.
But you were still able to play, late afternoons and so forth when the members were no longer playing. But racism and segregation was the key, and not only in the South but in most of the country.
Mm. Okay. All right. So how did that affect you in terms of golf? Like you got your Monday days to play. Was there any? Did you face any racism? Did anything happen to you while playing golf?
No, nothing that I can remember. Nothing bad anyway.
Okay.
Um, it was kind of accepted certain rules. Like you sat on the back of the bus. That
Mm.
was kind of understood.
Mm.
And most times, and that you didn't find a problem or incident when you did that, or you in a public space. There might be two different water fountains, one white, one black.
Mm.
In the department stores, you may not be able to try on the goods that you were thinking about purchasing.
Mm.
Or, you buy it, and if it didn't work very well, then you went to an altercation person
Mm.
to, address the size or the length or whatever.
Mm.
But those were the ways and the traditions of the day. All
Mm.
of that obviously has changed. But when we're talking about working and or playing in an outdoor space, it seemed to be easier and more adaptable sooner
Mm.
than later.
Mm. I, I hear Mama Jen saying something.
She was. I said that some of the courses were very private, like Savannah Country Club, where I got introduced to golf and caddying and so forth. But she wants you to know that all of the courses were white, so
Mm.
that the participation in was either publicly accommodation, or some corporations had golf courses, but again, they're all white.
Mm. Okay.
But there
Interesting.
were major corporations who uh, had golf for their employees.
Mm.
No, black employees as well.
Okay. All right. So let's shift gears off of golf and go back to um, football and track. So tell me about those.
Well, I was a varsity player on both,
Varsity
and
player.
yeah,
All right. All
uh,
right.
yeah. I played in football. I played on both sides of the ball. I played linebacker, which is a defensive position, and on offense, I was a running back,
Mm.
and so speed kind of played a role in that position.
Mm.
In track, I was on a championship team, really a record-setting championship,
Oh wow.
440 relay team.
Wow. All right. So you pulled it all together. Had all the things happening for you.
Sometimes.
Okay. All right. So I went to Martha. You mentioned went to Martha's Vineyard, and I gotta say that we did the tour and tour this this thing we paid for. It was like this. Well, let me call it a tour. Let's call it that.
Okay.
African American what? Yeah, an African American tour. So we went on this thing, and it was so enlightening. It was so enlightening because, as you know, I've been to Martha's Vineyard throughout my life, and I've gone and I've seen the little gingerbread houses. You remember those? The gingerbread houses?
Yeah, sure.
So
We have those in Savannah, Georgia, too.
oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh wow. All right, that's good to know. So anyway, I took Fee to go see the gingerbread houses because that's what I remember, and she was fascinated by them and all that stuff. And then we did the tour, and on the tour we found out that the first 60 gingerbread houses were built by a black man. I was like, what? And
Mm,
that surprised me. That
mm.
surprised me a lot. So, what you got, Pops? Did you know about this?
Yeah, yeah, I knew about the cottages.
Okay, okay. So you knew about them,
Yeah.
and there were all these other things that were interesting to me. Like I've been to Martha Vineyard many times, as I said, but I've always been on the paved streets. I've never been off the old the run the road. What's the word? The 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 streets that are off the main road.
Right.
They're like dirt roads,
Back
and there were
roads.
so many houses on these dirt roads, and I was like, and I thought they were, you know, I thought they were something else, of course, at first. But then the guy was telling us that these were the main roads, that these were the main houses to begin with, and he showed us these plaques, these little iron plaques that were planted in front of some houses that talked about the African American who lived in that house and what their history was. I was fascinated. I was fascinated by that.
Mm.
Yeah, I was fascinated by all the different pieces. And there was one lady who had so many lives. She had so many lives. She was a nurse. She was a boxer. She was a
Really?
Yeah, she was so many things, and had her plaque up, and you could see her with her fists all poised up, and so that
Okay.
was fascinating. And she was an African American, and it's
Okay.
just struck me to find these little iron things. So I've been there, I've been next to those things, and never noticed them, but now I know to look for those little iron plaques, and all this was near, well, uh, in parcel of what we're doing, we also went to Inkwell, which was much smaller than I thought. It was like right there. It was right there. So
Yeah.
anyway, I just was fascinated by the fact that I had never ever seen a dirt road with houses on it before, and we went to so many houses where people were living.
Well, let's take that back.
Okay.
When my parents bought their house, it was on a dirt street in Savannah, Georgia,
Okay.
in the city, and the owners on that street had to pay to get the street paved.
Okay. Okay. So you had to pay something to get it paid.
Pay the city,
Really?
yeah,
Okay. All
the
right.
county,
Are
the
you familiar?
municipality.
Okay. Are you familiar with the back streets of Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've
Because I
been
had
on it.
never seen, heard of anything. I did not know about these back streets. It was a shock to me. I was like, what? We were on in this van. Van was bumpy. Like, oh man, this is crazy. But then we would come up on the house with a plaque. Like, wow, this is part of the culture. You
Well,
know?
think about it. You're a big city kid. You grew up in the city. Not
Yeah,
only were the streets paved, the buildings were tall.
yeah, yeah. I was raised in the city for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
But there, you're on an island. Remember that,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think uh you should connect with this guy, and you guys will have so many things to share, and take the tour and whatever, and just like exchange information because I mean he's the guy who was raised, I think, on the island of, yeah, no, he was raised in Boston, but he was growing up through all the areas of life
Uh-huh.
on Martha's Vineyard. And so yeah, it was really interesting to hear him talk about the legacy of Martha's Vineyard. I had no idea that it was so black. Honestly, I had no idea it was so black. I had no idea that we've been so fundamental in putting Martha's Vineyard to get together. You know.
Mm. Well, remember, it started off in part as a service industry for us. You're going, and on an island, obviously, it's fishing,
Right.
which was kind of the main trade. So you put together those combinations of things and people, and of course, growth and development.
Yeah. Yeah. Ashe. Ashe. And yeah, there's so much legacy, and so that, because we talk about two different legacies just now. We talked about the legacy of your family, your legacy of the Marcy Golf Classic, and we talked about the legacy of dirt roads. Two entirely different legacies, but legacy all the same. And it's good to know there's so much history and legacy around us.
They were called back roads.
Back roads, yeah. Back roads, yeah. Back roads, yeah. All right, Pop. Got anything you wanna share?
No, other than we were leaving in a couple of days to go back to our winter home in Central Florida.
Right.
And today is very overcast, and it looks like we're going to have some rain soon.
Right. All right, Pops. So thanks for the weather report. Thanks for the report So you're gonna do this from Florida, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're trying to find a hookup.
Okay, Pop. All right, Bob. So thanks for watching us, folks. Thanks for sticking with us, and enjoy the day. And remember that now is better than perfect. We'll see you later.
Ciao.